And I saw you in the weight room and watched the workout in the weight room. If you was strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and I run it back 16 seconds. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaXSports. It's a beautiful Monday morning. The sun did rise and the Tide did not roll, but the Crimson Tide will be back this week. All of their goals are still ahead of them, except for an undefeated season. Can they bounce back? Will they respond? That's yet to be seen, but disappointment from this weekend. We'll be breaking that down as we'll have Kennington Smith, the third of the Athletic, joining us here in the second quarter. We'll be breaking that down in a moment. Hey, today is 9/11. Is that irony or not? Is it time to call 911 on the dynasty of Alabama football? Is it over? Or are we panicking? Did you see enough that have you worried about where Alabama goes in 2023 and beyond? We will see. We got a great show lined up for you. This is the Sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. I'm gonna tell you, if you come on here today, you better be ready to defend whatever you say, cause I'm fired up. I'm ready to go at you. I ain't gonna let you just talk now. You better come on here ready to talk, know what you're talking about now. All right, is it time to call for the dynasty to be over? We're going to talk about takeaways, good, bad, and ugly. We may not get to all of them today because the phone lines are already jumping. You can join us on the Alabama One hotline at 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. Or you can join, like, share, or follow us on the live stream on Facebook and YouTube at Martin Houston 35, on Twitter and YouTube, and Martin Houston, the Martin Houston 35, or Martin Houston 35 fan page on Facebook, and MaXSports on Facebook. All of those you can get in. We look forward to your conversation. Unfortunately, we had a winner for last week. Philip picking the score 37-21, had the total right. Just gave Texas 3 points more than they got, and Alabama 3 less than they got. But Philip is a week 2 winner, and he was also a week 1 winner with the exact score. So I'm not sure if Philip's not from Vegas. So he nailed that once again. So kudos to him. But remember this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well.
Doing well. Before we start getting the calls, I got a feeling we'll have a few calls here lined up. You got anything you want to share from the game?
I feel like we'll go over it throughout the course of the show, but there was some good, there was definitely some bad, and of course the ugly of the game. The good, I would say, is in a loss. I watched a young man who's been absolutely destroyed over the last 48 hours or so after all of the doubt and things of him throughout the course of the off season. Every time he made a mistake in this game in Jalen, he came back. He didn't quit. He kept putting in effort. So that's the good that I saw. The bad was the interceptions, no doubt. And the ugly was the absolute manhandling that Alabama took in the trenches, offensively and defensively. Couldn't get pressure on their quarterback. Quinn Ewers had all the time in the world to throw, and we couldn't block them to save our lives. Jalen was getting to the top of his drop and having to make a move was bringing pressure from somewhere. This offensive line and the defensive line have to get a lot better.
Hey, let me. I'm gonna go ahead and address Landon Law. Hard to win throwing picks. We threw 2 picks. Okay, 2 bad picks. Without Jalen Milroe on Saturday, we get stomped. Okay, the other quarterbacks would not have gotten a pass off with that offensive line protection. I want everybody to understand that quarterback play. The first pick was a great defensive call. Great defensive call. And I'm not going to make excuses. The 2 picks were bad picks. But somebody tell me, why do you not give help on the pass pro? And why would you call a 2-man route and then still not really help with the pass pro? I mean, it was absolutely amazing. If they're hitting your guy, move the pocket. Move the pocket, especially when this guy can move the pocket. We have 0 chance. And I'm going to get some audio that Saban said. Saban said they take shots. And that's the thing to do. And they did it well. Did we take some shots? We did. And we took shots. We were successful. Why don't we take more shots? If his best strength is running the ball and throwing the deep ball, and Herb Street said it, and I agree, why don't we do that more? Just some thoughts. Landon, I appreciate you jumping in here, but there's a reason we don't have a 2-quarterback system, because the other guys aren't ready. There's a huge gap between Miro and the other guys. But those other guys wouldn't have had a chance the other night. At halftime, and then I'm going to get to the phone lines. At halftime, I want somebody to think about this. At halftime, over half, 52%, 11 versus 1 pressure on the pass, which means the quarterback was either rushed or got hit 11 times in the first half. Alabama, Texas quarterback got hit once. Do you know how, and that's not counting the times, Xavier, that he had to look down to find the ball, which guess what it does when you have to look to find the ball? It throws off your what? Timing. It throws off timing. I'm willing to bet if we had better snaps, maybe we complete those 2 passes to the running backs that were wide open, instead of him worrying about the snap, looking down, then trying to locate the running back. Here's what I want somebody to tell me. Was Texas a better team Saturday night than they were last year? Yes. Offensively and defensively. How many points did our Heisman Trophy winner score against them? Let's go to the phone lines.
20.
Let's go. And how many touchdowns did Miro have called back Saturday night?
2.
Okay. All right. Robert, you're in on the Martin Houston show with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One Hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Well, looks like we going to do a bunch of disagreeing today.
But here we are.
But gotta get to how to talk. So you guys are insinuating that Bryce Young wouldn't have done a better job Saturday?
No, I didn't. I didn't. No, I wasn't insinuating Bryce Young wouldn't have done a better job. I'm saying that the game that was played the other night, if you come on here to blame that loss strictly on him, everybody acts like we give him credit, Robert, for the 2 interceptions, but we don't give him credit for the 2 touchdowns that got called back because of his teammates.
No one's saying it's all his fault. And I've heard a lot of people talk. Are they giving them a majority to him? Yeah. But they're blaming the team. I've been all over YouTube and every place you listen to people talk because they're ranting and bending. And most of the majority blame going to him. But they're talking about the team. They're talking about the defense. They're talking about the coordinator. They're talking about the same thing you were talking about with the protection and the offensive line. I'm so sick of seeing how big those guys are and then watching them not blow people off the line. I don't want to hear another announcer tell me how big those guys are. Just please don't bring that up. So I see them start blowing people off the line. I don't care.
Amen.
I don't care if they win
Amen.
now. Because I'm tired of them. I'm sick of them saying that. Like you said earlier, Xavier, about the doubts. Again, the doubts were not in a vacuum because we hadn't seen anything. No, we were doubting because of what we had seen. And until more evidence comes to show the contrary, the doubts remain. And in a big game, sorry, Milroe, you're not alleviating the doubts by not performing well. And when the competition is tougher, it's regardless of what the
Robert,
one thing
Go ahead. Let Robert finish.
Robert,
let Robert finish.
He started 3 games, right?
Let Robert finish because the time is.
Yeah, I know. I understand the sample size is small, but some other quarterbacks have even smaller sample size and still perform well. And so it's some quarterbacks are just one game in and still perform better. And it's the times he could run when the opportunity was there, to alleviate his stress and to put the other defense on his heels. He missed a lot of running opportunities that were there, and it's like, dude, just take off and keep going. And he wouldn't do that often enough. I don't want to keep, like you said, I don't want to keep putting us all on Milroe. It's so many people that were at fault. But one thing before I go, Nick Saban said this competition for quarterback was open. You need to act like it's really open. If you started on Milroe, you need to tell those other two guys you've already decided. But here's your opportunity to give them a chance with the first team, and they should be allowed to have that chance. There should be a change right now, at least starting out with the game.
Why?
And you said it's still open, Saban? Let it be open.
Let me ask you this, Robert. Robert, why?
Because right now, Milroe is not showing that when the game – he may have a great game against USF. Fine. But when that competition gets tougher, man, will you stop with those interceptions? Will you be able to read defenses better? I don't know if the other quarterback would have done worse Saturday because I haven't seen enough of that.
Maybe
it's open. Can we let them
maybe
play?
Saban has.
Well, he shouldn't have said what he said Saturday night. Then he said he considered changing quarterbacks. Now, if you think you've seen enough of those guys that they're not it, you wouldn't have even said you thought about it, and you wouldn't come in and saying the competition's open.
Hey, Robert, just so you know, Tyler Buckner's last start against South Carolina at Notre Dame, he threw 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, 2 that were returned for touchdowns. So they've seen Buckner.
I got to get the break, but I got to get the break.
Why you let him come? Like, why you let him come to school and be Alabama? Why you put him over Ty Simpson? And why are you saying it's open?
Hey, because Robert, because that's Coach Saban selling to the media.
All right, guys.
Hey, absolutely, man. That's why I say it's your show, your opinion. Always welcome, right, whether we agree or disagree. Hey, keep the phone lines open. Keep the calls coming. We'll be back in just a moment to keep it going right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things pretty quiet on the roadways on this Monday morning. Now, if you do see conditions, please give us a call, 205-886-8886. Now's the time to buy a new Nissan from Townsend Nissan with discounts up to $8,000 on new units. Don't wait. Shop today. I'm Captain Ray.
If you're a homeowner or business owner and need glass installation, sales, or repair, call 345-3511 and talk to the glass pros at Alabama Central Glass. They specialize in beveled mirrors, window glass, furniture tops, insulated glass replacement, storefronts, shower doors, tub enclosures, and acrylic. So if you need glass installation, sales, or repair, call 345-3511 or visit the Alabama Central Glass showroom at 3878 Greensboro Avenue, Tuscaloosa.
This Alabama football season, join Kerry Clark, Mark McGriff, and Matt Coulter for the most comprehensive post-game coverage of the Crimson Tide. The Tide Post-Game Show, live from Walk-On Sports Bistro. Walk-Ons, 675 Skyland Boulevard, Tuscaloosa. Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, burgers, bone-in wings, salads, and gumbo. The Tide 100.9 and 95.3 The Bear Tide Post-Game Show will be live after every Bama football game. Catch Coach Saban's post-game press conference and the Walk-Ons keys to the game. Plus, we'll take your phone calls live. Walk-On Sports Bistro for the win. 675 Skyland Boulevard, Tuscaloosa, and online at walkons.com.
With Labor Day savings at the Home Depot, we have laundry appliances that just fit. They'll fit your space, fit your needs, and with extra large capacity, Samsung laundry pairs can fit more loads in less time. Plus, with free delivery on orders of $396 and up, you won't have to worry about fitting your new laundry pair in the back of your car. Final days to get up to $700 off select appliances like Samsung, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid 8/24 through 9/13, U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky partly to mostly sunny today. The high for this afternoon around 90. For tonight, mostly fair with the low at 69. For tomorrow, partially sunny. The chance of a few isolated showers by afternoon. The high in the upper 80s at 89. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 69 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Listen. You're welcome to criticize Jalen Milroe, but I am going to point out that Alabama won a game last year with the Heisman Trophy winner, 20-19. The Texas team returned 10 of those starters. And the running back played key roles, pivotal roles in this game that replaced Bijan Robinson. This year's team could not get a pass rush, could not blitz, could not get to the quarterback. And they got 34 points. That team Saturday night, would have beat last year's team with Bryce Young playing. We scored 24 points, had 14.2 touchdowns come off the board. And at one point late in the game, we were winning the game. And, of course, had the back-breaking long touchdown and then a pick. And then what I said would happen, you saw happen. A team had a 7-minute drive to end the game because of the new clock rules. There we go. We got Kennington Smith III. He's going to be joining the conversation. We do have a couple callers, Kennington, so I'm going to let them be in with you and let you respond to them. Kennington Smith III, good morning. How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
Doing well. Kennington with the Athletic. We have Pat. Pat, you're up. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, we're not going to talk about the quarterback. We're going to talk about Freddie Roach needing to be the linebacker coach. Linebackers wasn't no good. Defensive line wasn't no good. And I said no good. I'm using bad English to emphasize no good.
Tell me what was good on defense.
Let's talk about you being the minister of defense. I've been believing you. I've been listening to you. Martin, I'm so been out of shape about. Hey, has Otis lost too much weight? I got to blame this on Freddie Roach. Hey, do you know who coached the defensive line that beat us like a yard dog? Bo Davis. Bo Davis. I've been preaching Bo Davis. Oh, my God. I've been preaching Bo Davis for how long? If Coach Saban don't get in that Mercedes business, no, get in that Ferrari and see how fast he can get to Texas and pay Bo Davis whatever the crap Bo Davis needs to come to Alabama. I don't care what he has to get him. But he got to get in that Ferrari and go get him. He's not a
Pat, it's not Coach Saban. It's Sankey. The same reason Jeremy
I
Pruitt.
don't care about Stanky. Tell Stanky to kiss
Well-
my butt. I don't care about Stanky. Hey, Coach Saban could be the czar of college football, and he's going to let Stanky tell him what to do? I don't think
Kennington,
so.
I'll let you
But,
respond.
Martin, I'm coming on,
Yes,
Coach.
Coach
I'm
Saban
sorry.
calls his team.
Huh? Kennington, what do you think about this?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what to make of this. I mean, Bo Davis, he had that defensive line humming, ready to go. I mean, that ended up being the matchup of the game. Honestly, I thought it was going to be Texas receiving against Bama's defensive backs, but it ended up being the line of scrimmage. I mean, I don't really know what Saban could do to try to pry him away from Texas. I guess, like you said, come with a Ferrari and a bigger bag. But
I think it's all Sankey.
yeah,
I mean, let me rephrase that. I know Sankey will not let. The reason we don't have Jeremy Pruitt and Bo Davis coaching our defense right now is Sankey in the SEC. Period.
Okay, but Bo Davis is going to be coaching Texas next year. I'm sick of it, Martin. I'm sick of it. Would he come on, please?
But he may change that next year. He may change it next year. He may let him come next year.
He's going to come next year, whether Stanky wants him to come or not.
Hey, Pat, you got anything else before I let you go, man? I know you're fired up.
The defense, the defensive backfield. Hey, the fact that whoever we got coaching our defensive backs, he's got to go too.
Okay.
Man, the OC's got to go. Hey, Coach Saban has got to revamp. I don't care if we win another ball game this year. He's got to make some changes
You may
across
want
the
to
board.
stay on for this question.
That was the worst performance by an Alabama team
Stay on the phone for this question and listen, Pat. Don't respond. Just listen. Kennington,
Okay.
what is Pete Golden saying this morning?
He's laughing.
Because everybody blamed Pete Golding.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably not saying too much. He's probably just kind of shrugging his shoulders, like putting his hands up, like, see, like it wasn't all me. At the end of the day, I think the conversations that we've had about the offense and the philosophy and those things about it being the Alabama offense, the same things can apply to the defense. Like at the end of the day, it is Nick Saban's defense, and these coordinators are running variations of that. So maybe Pete Golding feels a little vindicated this morning or, after the game. But, it is a long season. I'm not overreacting too much on this loss.
Kennington, I'm not overreacting to Alabama having a good season, but I am going to overreact to the fact that we saw, until yours went out, we saw the same thing last night for 4 quarters.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
I agree with that too.
Tennessee called Sark and said, "What do you do to confuse Nick Saban's defense?" And we watched it. Whenever Tennessee needed a touchdown, did they get one last year?
Yes.
Did Texas, when they had a quarterback who could deliver, when they needed a touchdown, did they get one?
Yes.
Were there any DBs close? Did they look like they knew what they were doing on those plays?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it was a masterclass by Sark.
So to me, hey, Pat, I'm gonna let you go. Thanks, Pat. Let me ask you this.
Thank you, Mark.
Let me ask you this, Kennington. It's either one of two things. Either the defense is too complex, because when Sark went fast the other night, we had guys pointing at receivers as they ran by them. Or we were not in the same, there wasn't anybody I was watching it at home. There was no one in the picture. We still don't know where number zero is, or zero. I don't think zero is zero a number. But
yeah.
X, you have a question. I'm sorry, Kennington. This is your first Monday after a loss, so I'm not ready to say Alabama's not gonna be good. Fine, because all of Saban's national championships, 5 of his 7, he's had this happen. Okay, so I'm not panicking on that. I'm just saying it's a new ball game with these offensive coordinators that are on the level of Sark and Heupel, and we have a sample size now. The question is there a coordinator and a quarterback out there? This is where the narrative to me, Xavier and Kennington, can begin to go. I'm not ready to say it's completely there yet. If you have an elite coordinator with a 4 and 5 wide receiver set, Kennington, that can go hurry up with a quarterback who can execute, it's the exact same thing that the scramble quarterback, dual threat quarterback used to have on Nick Saban's defense. That they have the same impact on the back end now.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think like you said, the game is changing when you have a dynamic play caller, play designer, and starting to have a quarterback that can make throws. You are susceptible to things like this happening, and I think going back to last year, to your point, Bama, barely scraped by and won that game, 20-19. A lot of that had to do with Bryce Young's heroics, and I think that's a key component to this year's team compared to last year's team, is that there's just not that marquee star power that can overcompensate for a lot of the team's issues, which, Bryce Young did last year. But also the fact that Quinn Ewers got hurt in that first quarter, and, the lead up to this game, the question was, what would have happened in that game had Quinn Ewers stayed healthy and had been able to play, because he did have Alabama on the ropes in that first quarter. And you saw the result when he was able to play 4 quarters, the other night, and did so relatively without duress. Texas offensive line dominated that matchup, didn't allow a sack. And when you have a quarterback as good as Ewers, and he has the time, he has the weapons, and he has Sark kind of pulling the strings and calling the plays, these are the results that can happen.
This kid, I had no idea. He had no passes over 20 yards for a touchdown coming into the game. Let that sink in, Alabama fans. He had 0 20-plus yard touchdown passes, is what they said. I was like, that can't be true. But that's what the stat they showed. I don't care if it was true or not. How many did he have against us? It's just you watch that game and you realize something has to change. And I think it's a complexity scenario. Kennington, and we got one more caller, so we get that on the other side. But Kennington, I want you to think about this during the break. Xavier, I want you to think about it as well. Is the Alabama secondary, is the play calling or something about the scheme too complex for the route trees that are being put together today? Is the complexity of the motion, the speed of the game, the motion, is it that because Saban said it, he hinted at it, I'll get what he said if we can find that clip. And if we don't find the clip, I will say it myself. Regarding the communication. Coming back on the other side, we have Kennington Smith III of The Athletic. You have Xavier Houston of MaXSports. Coming back on the other side, we'll keep the conversation going right here on the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things pretty quiet on the roadways on this Monday morning. Now, if you do see conditions, please give us a call, 205-886-8886. Now's the time to buy a new Nissan from Townsend Nissan with discounts up to $8,000 on new units. Don't wait. Shop today. I'm Captain Ray.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match, only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
With Labor Day savings at the Home Depot, we have laundry appliances that just fit. They'll fit your space, fit your needs, and with extra large capacity, Samsung laundry pairs can fit more loads in less time. Plus, with free delivery on orders of $396 and up, you won't have to worry about fitting your new laundry pair in the back of your car. Final days to get up to $700 off select appliances, like Samsung, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid 8/24 through 9/13, U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Don't miss your chance to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Open 24/7, so come on in for nonstop gaming action. You'll find the latest, hottest, most exciting games around, and you'll love the fun bonuses and big jackpots. Plus, you can watch and wager on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. Your best bet for big wins is just minutes away at Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where you can be a winner too. Birmingham Racecourse Casino off I-459, exit 31 Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Join Tide 100.9 this Friday from 12 to 2 for Fridays at the Free. Come see Lars Anderson and Matt Coulter for Big Noon Sports live at Innisfree Irish Pub, Tuscaloosa's best bar for 25 years and counting. Innisfree's Irish Pub has delicious pub food with an Irish flair. Come have the Innisfree Lucky Lunch, a delicious meat and three, while Lars and Matt get you ready for the Bama game this weekend. Fridays at the Free, every Friday during football season with Tide 100.9 and Innisfree Irish Pub, located at 1925 University Boulevard, downtown Tuscaloosa.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. We have great sponsors and none any better than Alabama One. Go check out Alabama One for all of your financial needs. Right now, you can go over and get in terms of the great promotion. We're giving away a $100 gift card weekly for a weekend getaway, $1,000 monthly giveaway, and $5,000 grand prize getaway. Get a loan on auto, small vehicle, or small equipment loan, or open a deposit account. Keep it on deposit with us for 6 months. We got a great CD, 12-month CD that's earning as high as 5.3 APY, or we have our Ascend Fund that will earn 4% APY. And it has no early withdrawal penalties. So either one of those are great product. Both of them can make you a winner. Go to alabama1.org. Alabama One together. What's your one? All right, we got Kennington Smith of The Athletic with us. Let's go ahead and get Todd, who's been patient, get him in, and then we'll get back to some other conversation. Todd, you're in with Kennington Smith, third of The Athletic, and Xavier Houston on the Alabama One hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, good morning, men. Oh, man. First, we're going to pray for Pat to calm down. And before he has a coronary, I feel his pain today. You can just tell in his voice he's struggling today, as all of us fans are. But I got 3 words for us, guys: coaching, coaching, coaching. And the good was Saban's interview where he took the full blame and blamed it on his coaches. The bad was just, man, little to no adjustments for halftime, for the second half. The ugly was coaching. Man, I'm majorly disappointed. This is their interview, man, for all of us fans. And if I'm a general and I lead you into battle, Martin, and I set you up for failure by not, putting you in the wrong places, is that your fault for your failure?
I'll let Kennington respond.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree that it was a coaching. It sounds weird to say when Saban is on the other side, but it really was like a coaching mismatch that took place on Saturday. I mean, the Texas game plan, offensively and defensively, was just far superior to Alabama's, and particularly on offense. I think that's where the focus is at for me. When you look at what Sark was able to do to help Quinn Ewers get into the flow of the game and get him comfortable, a lot of short passes, a lot of swing passes, a lot of plays behind the line of scrimmage. And you saw that take its toll on Alabama's defense. The safeties continuously had to creep up to try to help. And then they used those same motions to trick those safeties and were able to go over the top. And you look at what happened on the Alabama side. After Jalen Milroe threw that first pick, it just seemed like there was a lot of lost confidence in him, and you didn't see the same type of plays to help Jalen Milroe get adjusted into the game. Tommy Reese pretty much kind of turned him into a drop back passer, which, first isn't Jalen Milroe's game, and secondly wasn't working because the offensive line couldn't block.
Hey,
and we just really didn't see any adjustments off of that.
Kennington and X, I want you to respond. But let me ask you this question, Kennington. Who had the highest percentage on deep balls the other night?
Probably Milroe, but he probably didn't throw that many deep balls.
My point is he was 3 for 4 on completions and could have been, and if you take, he had 2 touchdowns called back. My point is, Saban himself said this in the press conference. He said they took their shots. And that's probably not a bad thing. It's probably the way it should be played. and Herb Street himself talked and said he has a pretty deep ball. That's what he does best. And I'm like, why are we not doing that? If we want to be a running team and people are in the box and your quarterback throws the deep ball well, get them out of the box. Anyway, Todd, anything you got for me? We got to get a couple questions in for Kennington.
Yeah, no. One last thing. There's a few callers that's called in, throughout the last few months, and they stated that Alabama will have 2 or 3 losses. I kind of agree with them now. If we don't make a huge change, especially that Auburn game at the end of the year, man, I don't know what it is. Auburn can be 2-8 or whatever, and Alabama can be undefeated, and they'll take that game down to the wire every time. I don't know what it is about. They got mojo, man, and it's in Auburn.
Todd.
Yeah.
I'm get off that stuff, man. I am not going to watch that game and then see Auburn do what they did and then say Auburn can beat this Alabama team. The Auburn should have flown back with a loss over California.
Yeah.
So I hear you, but there's a recipe that Sark has that could beat Alabama. Auburn doesn't have that right now. Auburn does not have that right now. And Auburn is now will Hugh Freeze get there? Will Hugh Freeze become what Sark is? I think so, but I don't think it's this year. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
All right. Kennington, let me just get give me your assessment of the game. I mean, we've talked a lot around it, but just give me your assessment of the game.
Can you repeat the question?
Just give me your assessment, your key takeaways from the game.
I think my key takeaway is that the perceived strengths of this team are not playing up to that standard. And I'm looking at the offensive line and I'm looking at the defense. And coming into the season, there was so much talk from the players about reestablishing the quote unquote standard of the program. And the people at the forefront of this were like the JC Lathams and the Dallas Turners about, we want to establish dominance at the line of scrimmage. I think Tyler Booker at one point said we want to make people quit. And we knew that quarterback was going to be not a problem, but a question mark this season. And the expectation was that the quarterback situation was going to be remedied by the fact that Alabama was going to have the dominant offensive line. They're going to be able to run the ball. They're going to play good defense. And what you saw on Saturday was those groups that were perceived to be elite are not elite units right now. And if Alabama's season is going to turn around, it has to start with the strength of the team playing like strength. So that was my key takeaway, was just where the units were that we thought were elite units that were going to be strengths of the team are pretty far off that mark. And those positions have to round into shape to kind of, elevate the rest of the play of the team.
Kennington, especially when you look at throughout the course of this game, you watch JC Latham get beat. You watch Dallas Turner not be effective on any pass rush. You watch Kool-Aid get absolute mossed on the sideline. Those are our three representatives at SEC Media Days talking about what this team is going to be, what this team is going to do. And none of the three of them showed up throughout the course of this game in impactful ways. Now, as far as something that was mentioned earlier about the play calling, you had before the interception, we were throwing the ball on first down. After the interception, I think 8 out of the next 9 first down plays were run plays. They completely gave up on Jalen immediately. You didn't do deep shots until you had to, and he went 3 for 4. There's a lot of perceived things about this team that aren't being realized on the field. Maybe these guys being 350 plus is a negative. They're slow. Their feet aren't as quick as they were at 340. It's a lot of things I see that have been perceived that this team hasn't lived up through 2 games to even get.
Hey, Kennington.
Yeah.
Kennington, last week I introduced a new segment called Inside the Playbook. And I simply talked about how do you stop a pass rush? How do you slow down a pass rush? And I said there's a couple things you can do. You can chip the outside pass rush with the running back. If they're not blitzing a linebacker and the defensive ends are getting around the tackle, you just chip him. You literally take a running back and you just chip him, right? And you slow him down. We had numerous chances to do that, both for our Proctor and Latham needed it. Zero, the freshman for Texas on defense, made us look like we were, slow-footed in running in mud. I don't know. We got away with several holdings where we just threw the guy down because he just ran around us. Or you run a screen, or you run a draw. No help to the quarterback. None on the pass rush. None. We did not chip. We did not screen. We didn't have. How many times did Texas's tight end act like he was going to block on the end and then release and be wide open? We did not do that one single time. Kennington, how do you? I want you to respond to this. We called, in the most critical moment of the game, we called a 2 wide receiver route, and they still got pressure on us. And we had nothing to the middle of the field, thus the pick coming out of that in the fourth quarter. And answer this. How big a deal, how big of impact is McLaughlin having, or did he have on this game that no one's talking about? We'll talk about it right here on the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things pretty quiet on the roadways on this Monday morning. Now, if you do see conditions, please give us a call, 205-886-8886. Now's the time to buy a new Nissan from Townsend Nissan with discounts up to $8,000 on new units. Don't wait. Shop today. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Monday morning. Yesterday was the peak of the 2023 hurricane season in the Atlantic Basin. Today marks the 22nd anniversary of the 9/11 attacks on the United States. 9 people with Alabama ties lost their lives on that day in 2001. Among them, 49-year-old Terry Lynch, a native of Youngstown, Ohio, who worked as a senior legislative aide to then Alabama U.S. Senator Richard Shelby for 15 years. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news. Don Hartley, Telsquare Media, Tuscaloosa.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Monday edition of The Game, we'll do the good, the bad, and the ugly, sponsored by DanielMooreArt.com. We'll talk to Martin Houston. We'll talk to Barrett Salee. Hopefully, we're recapping an Alabama win against the Texas Longhorns, all starting at 2 o'clock here on The Game on Tide 100.9, the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All of the West Alabama high school football scores every Friday night all season long on Tide 100.9. High school score updates brought to you by 4th District Congressman Robert Adderholt.
With Labor Day savings at the Home Depot, we have laundry appliances that just fit. They'll fit your space, fit your needs, and with extra large capacity, Samsung laundry pairs can fit more loads in less time. Plus, with free delivery on orders of $396 and up, you won't have to worry about fitting your new laundry pair in the back of your car. Final days to get up to $700 off select appliances like Samsung, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid 8/24 through 9/13, U.S. only. See store or online for details.
I hear a lot of different car ads every day on the radio, and the one thing I don't hear is instant savings. Folks, this is BJ from Townsend Nissan here in Tuscaloosa. Here are a few examples of our instant savings. $2,000 off every in-stock Altima, Rogue, and Frontier. $5,000 off every Murano. $7,000 off every Armada. $8,000 instant savings on every Titan and Titan Heavy Duty in stock. And yes, we have over 100 new Nissans in stock or on the way. Townsend Nissan is the home of fair, fun, and fast deals.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
How did you feel like you guys handled substitutions and alignment on defense when Texas went hurry up?
A couple times not good, and that's when we missed twice missed a match on the wide delay pass where they fly the back out, tight end comes across. We didn't match the pattern. And I think in both cases, I think we had to call, but I think when they went hurry up on it, we were on our heels. So I don't think we did a good job of that.
Is the defense too complex? How did you handle hurry up? How did you handle substitution? Not good. We had the call, but we didn't execute. Is it too complex? Wide delay. They sent the running back. They brought the wide, the tight end across. He was wide open. When they needed it, they went to it. They got it. Wide open. Wide open. And I think I said the tight end that had the best game would end up being the team that won. There was a question asked, what was good about the quarterback play? Because we can pick he had 2 really bad interceptions. 2 really, really bad interceptions. The question I would have for you, Kennington, is based on the pass protection, based on the poor snaps, does any other quarterback that's on this roster stand any chance against that Texas. Based on what you saw in the offseason, give Alabama any chance of even being in that game?
I don't think so. That's another thing to consider about this game is Jalen Milroe's supreme athleticism saved Alabama's offense from potentially having twice as many sacks as it allowed. And it allowed 5. It allowed a lot of sacks. But if you put anybody less dynamic than him back there, it would have resulted in more sacks, more sack yardage, potentially fewer points. It was just one of those games where it benefited Alabama to have Milroe's athleticism back there to evade that pass rush. And one of the more interesting sound bites from that press conference was that Nick Saban said that, he did consider in his mind going to another quarterback, but Milroe led that touchdown drive where he hits Burton. They go up 16-13. It felt like that gave Milroe some confidence, so he decided to keep him in the game. But the way that the offensive line was blocking, you really needed to have somebody back there who could, escape and evade some pressure. As far as the snaps, that was really, really jarring. I think uncharacteristic from Seth McLaughlin that there were several bad snaps. There was a snap violation penalty. So Jalen Milroe's timing was off. I think the play that is best illustrated in this was the missed wheel route to Jason McClellan that potentially could have ended up in a touchdown. That snap, it affected his timing. In my opinion, I still think Milroe has to hit that throw, but it definitely wasn't McLaughlin's best game either, and it affected the rhythm of the offense.
And everybody says he should have. Yes, he should have, but I also think the fact that he knew he had it, and instead of throwing it in rhythm, he tried to rush the throw, which is all about timing, and no one is acknowledging that. And he did what's the name play a great game? No. But what you have to understand is once the snap is off, once you're running for your life, all other things are out the window. His first interception was a brilliant defensive setup by Sark and team, and a bad throw by Milroe. Bad read, right? But once you put the kid in the bag, what happened to Texas had no answer for our run game until we decided to just run it on first down every time. I mean, you go back and watch the beginning of that game, it looked like the offense was very dynamic, and then it just went in the tank. Let's get to Philip. Philip, you're in with Kennington Smith III of The Athletic and Xavier Houston. What's on your mind, sir?
Yeah, good morning. Great show. There's just so much to talk about.
And by the way, congratulations on getting it right.
No, don't congratulate me. I hated it. I mean, I was sorry I got that right. Yeah, I hated getting that game right, but I felt it all along. One of the things I like to mention is that J.C. Latham himself, in an article that I read yesterday, he flat out blamed the coaching. He said, now, it could have been the heat of the moment in the locker room, which I'm sure some of it was, but he said we were not prepared. Now, he had 2 holding calls on him, too. But J.C. Latham said we were not prepared, which that probably needs to be addressed. But he said that. The other thing is I don't quite understand why Dupree he has 1 catch for 5 yards this year. He's a much ballyhooed transfer from Maryland, and he's not even getting the ball. And then you got 2 5-star running backs on the bench that don't even get in the darn game.
Kennington, I'll let you respond. Thanks, Philip.
Yeah. As far as the tight end question, it is interesting, I guess, that Dupree doesn't have as big of a place in the offense as we anticipated, but I think also we have to give credit to Amari Nyblack. And he's just one of those type of players where you put the ball in his hand and good things tend to happen. We've seen it 2 games in a row. He probably had one of, if not the best fall camp on the roster, the way that he just kind of ascended. I just think that is one of those things where not Black, higher ceiling, more dynamic, not as good of a blocker as Dupree, but he's somebody that the coaching staff is just not able to keep off of the field. So I'm not really sure what Dupree's role is going to be moving forward, but it wouldn't surprise me to see Amari Niblack continuing to eat up a lot of the snap count in the tight end room. As far as the running back situation goes, I think it just kind of comes down to trust. And I think right now there's just more trust in McClellan and Williams as veteran guys in these big moments than Jam Miller and Justice Haynes. Now, I think that there could be a legitimate conversation about who deserves to be running back too, because Roydell did have a rough game on Saturday. Jace did what he could. Roydell really didn't add much in that second spot. So maybe that is Jam Miller, who only played a handful of snaps. Justice Haynes didn't record any snaps by Pro Football Focus. So, maybe there's not as much trust in that running back room in those big moments as maybe Nick Saban has let on. But we'll see what happens against South Florida and then going into SEC play, and we'll see how the rotation shakes out.
Kennington, I'll give you this, and you can write it. You can write an article on it. Saban has created his own arch nemesis, meaning Sark and Texas coming to the SEC. Sark has seen behind the curtain, much like a magician's assistant, and the magic trick no longer seems like magic, and it's easy to see what you're doing, and he knows how to expose it. And I saw it last year. I saw it after the Tennessee game when I heard that Heupel called Sark, and I saw it Saturday. Has Sark seen behind the curtain, and who else has seen behind the curtain, and they know what he's gonna do? So
yeah, I mean that's an interesting point. Potentially, I think it's interesting because he has seen behind the curtain, but I think so many other assistants have.
Yeah, that's my
and
point.
Been able to kind of get the best of them, and I think the Texas, just in a lot of ways represents a model that's allowed for programs to kind of catch up to Bama. You have Sark, the mind, someone who learned under Saban. Texas has the facilities, they have the recruiting base, they have NIL, the transfer portal, all of those things, and you're seeing it more and more that teams are starting to catch up to Bama. So it'll be interesting to see what Saban does to try to tighten his hold on the sport.
All right. Hey, that's at Skinny Kenny _ Kennington Smith III of The Athletic. You can look him up at The Athletic, Kennington Smith III. Hey, thanks, Kennington, for being on with us, man. We'll get back with you next week, hopefully after a victory. Roll Tide, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all having me. Looking forward to next week.
Yes, sir. All right. Hey, X, we'll be back on tomorrow. We'll add DC to the conversation. We'll get more good, bad, ugly, more thoughts. Hey, Alabama fans, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. Will Booker be back at right guard and we create at least one dominant side of this offensive line? Or will we keep the O-line as it is? We got beat in the trenches. We got beat deep in coverage. We got beat at wide receiver. We got beat everywhere, but maybe with the exception of field goal kicking and punting. You're going to have to do better, Bama, if you're going to win it. We'll take care of it this week with South Florida. We'll talk about it. Remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide out there, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.